Alrighty, let's just get started. So I'll share my screen here. Let me know if you can see the screen. Seems like it is showing here. Perfect. Okay, so today we are going to be discussing, explaining, talking about VWAP, what it is, how to use it, how to not use it, what to use it for, and how to interpret it in a valuable way. Just to preface this, VWAP is probably the top 3 tool I use. It's such a strong confidence when you use it correctly that I can't state this enough that it's something you sort of have to use in your arsenal. If you don't, you're missing out on a lot of confidence that you will definitely benefit from if you can add it to your strategy and just your way of trading. So VWAP, it's an indicator. So it's the volume weighted average price as well. I have a favorite because I use it all the time. As it says in the name, it shows the average price, volume weighted average price, but it also weighs volume into the equation. Okay, this means that the more volume that's in a move or in a price action, like in an area, the more weight that's going to have on the overall average price. And this makes sense, right? Because if you're in a very low volume environment, there doesn't take not a lot has to be traded to move price significantly, right? If you're on a very shit coin, stuff like that, where there isn't really a lot of buyers, isn't really a lot of sellers, you're going to be able to move the price quite easily. Therefore, weighing volume into the equation is quite helpful because you're sort of able to filter out bad price action. Okay, you're able to only use good price action and filter out all the bad price action, which gives you far more accurate levels. So next thing about VWAP is VWAP has anchor points. Okay, so different from like an EMA, which is continuous. So I'll do the 200 for example. This just keeps going. Video is not loading. Is there an issue for everyone else, or is that just that Ryan 11 guy? I'm good. Okay, perfect. So like I was saying, instead of it just continuing calculating the in this case average price, it's resetting at specific periods which you decide. So right here, it's in a session for swing trading, which I'm doing, which is like 4 hours and above. I use the yearly and the quarterly. This means it's going to calculate the volume weighted average price again every year, for example. So as an example here, once we went from 2023 to 2024, it started a new calculation. Okay, this gives you what's good with this is that it limits the changes in narrative, right? Because sometimes there's just a clear shift in narrative, and therefore using levels from past year together with the current year might not always be a good idea. So splitting it into quarters or years is usually a very good idea. That's another thing that's very great about VWAP. You can split them into periods. So next thing is VWAP is this blue one here, volume weighted average price, the average price of the asset with the volume in mind. But it also has standard deviation bands. These are essentially just multiples of the VWAP for upside and downside, which is to be used the same way. So the common way is 1, 2, 3, which shows the first, second, and third standard deviation band. And we'll get into how to use it later on. But firstly, we'll just focus on the VWAP itself. So the VWAP is essentially to be used as two main things. One is dynamic support and resistance, and number 2 is to form a bias for whichever anchor period you have. Okay, so we'll go over bias first because that's the most simple. Based off your anchor period, you can decide your bias for the anchor period. So let's say we're on the yearly. If we are above VWAP on the yearly anchor, that means we are bullish for the year. If we are below VWAP on the yearly, that means we're bearish for the year. Okay. If we are, for example, on the weekly, I'll drop lower. That means that we are going to be either bullish or bearish for the current week. Okay. If we're above or below. So above VWAP, we're bullish. Below, we're bearish. And all depending on your anchor period. So like I was saying, I like to use the yearly and the quarterly, mostly the yearly, but sometimes I flip down to the quarterly if I'm on, for example, a 1 hour chart. And based off our rules we made, we can identify that throughout the entirety of 2023, except down here, we were bullish for the year. Okay? Stayed above VWAP consistently. Okay? For 2022, we first stayed above, which meant we first stayed above here, then went back below, then went back above, below, there we go. And here we flipped significantly below, which meant we were bearish for the year. And we obviously saw this correction downwards. Okay. The year before, it was here. We saw stayed above, we were bullish, we dropped low, bearish, which is why we saw this continuation downwards. We flipped above, bullish, which is why we saw this continuation upwards. And the story keeps going. So that's number one. Using this for bias. So generally, you'll want to, if we're above VWAP, you'll look to long more than you will to short. If we're below VWAP, you look to short more than we will to long. And we'll get into the specifics of this later on how to use it in different markets. So that's number one, using it to form your bias. Number two is using it as dynamic support and resistance. And actually, number three, using it to trade in ranges and momentum periods, but we'll get into that later on. So first, using this as support and resistance, dynamic support and resistance. As we can see, price tends to respect VWAP quite well. So here, for example, in 2023, we bounced off VWAP perfectly. Here we didn't, but we actually, if we zoom in a bit, we actually see that we actually did bounce off it quite a few times. You can see, but we finally broke through here. And we flipped it to resistance, as you can see, with this green candle here. So I'll go back to the daily. We touch it again here. Good support. And across this entire wave here. Why would we want to VWAP to reset over periods? Because using data from 2021 and 2023, for example, together may not always make sense because markets change, right? Bitcoin, both in volatility, in outreach, stuff like that, has changed massively from 2021 to 2023, and therefore mixing that data is a bad idea. It gives you data faults, basically, because you're using data sets from two completely different narratives. That's why we wanted to reset to sort of, is there one that's rolling? Yes, there is a rolling VWAP, but we'll get into that as well. So here, support, here as well, support. Here, we flipped it to resistance here. And as we can see, it tends to use this quite well as support and resistance. We'll go back further as well. So here, as resistance, resistance there, resistance there, resistance across this entire wave there. We'll go back to 2021 as well to show you. Support, resistance, support of this, resistance here, etc. Right? You can see that it tends to be support and resistance quite consistently. Okay, and this is just using the VWAP. Okay. This works on the quarterly as well. I'll shift the anchor period. But like literally every other indicator, the higher you go in the anchor period, the more respective these levels are, because you have more data. We'll check on the quarterly as well. As you can see, spent this as resistance here as well. resistance, flip the support off that one. Oops, we'll go back over here. Resistance, support off here, etc. You get the point, right? I'm not gonna ramble about this point for much longer because you get the point. Tends to act as support and resistance quite well. All right. So the next point is using the standard deviation bands for the same purpose. Okay. So like we discussed earlier, VWAP has standard deviation bands, aka the same level, but with some deviation. Okay. And these tend to work the exact same way. So we'll turn on these. I'll make this slightly better looking because this is disgusting with these green and brown and turquoise colors. So I'll just make this slightly better looking. So if you just excuse me for a moment. Let's make that 10 instead. 10. I lost my VWAP template, so that's why I have to do this again. Apologies. There we go. Okay, so this shows you both the VWAP, which I'll mark in red, just so it's very visible, in addition to the deviation bands. Okay, and as we can see, these also tend to work as support and resistance very, very well. So as an example here, this band here, which we'll see, it's slightly darker color gray than this one here. Resistance across this entire here, off here, flip to support off here. This deviation band down here, this gray one, after we deviated below the main VWAP, acted as a good support as well. Go back up here, for example. These deviation bands here, the lightest color, support, and also these darker gray colors up here, support and support. Okay. Just to reiterate this, you'll see that this third deviation band, resistance, support down here on the second one, etc. Would you not consider weekly or monthly or quarterly and yearly as preference? Any reason? So the reason you would want to use monthly or weekly would be that you would get more contextualized data, aka data that's more relevant to the current narrative. That's the positive. Okay, so it all depends on your time frame. Because if you're on the weekly, when you're trading on the 24-hour or the 1 day, basically, you'll see that this isn't really too easy to read, right? It's all over the place. Well, let's say you're on the 30-minute, then the weekly might be more appropriate, right? Because you're viewing less data, so lower time frame data, higher detail data as well. So therefore, using a lower anchor period makes sense. Because if you were to use the yearly when you're on the 30-minute, you'll see that it's not very helpful because you see it's like almost completely flat, and you can't really determine any trend off this. So using an appropriate VWAP anchor period together with your time frame is key. But the reason I say that I use the quarterly and yearly is because I never go below the 2 hour. Basically, I basically never do. Okay. So that's why. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with using the weekly or monthly as long as your time frame is low enough. I hope that answers your question, Blaze Dice. Got it. So if you're a short time scalper but swing's not the case, that could be how application works. Yes, exactly. If you're trying to scalp using lower time frame VWAP anchor periods makes far more sense. Because you're looking for very, very local moves, right? You're not looking for a huge swing move that would affect the entire macro structure, but you're looking for a very, very tiny micro move. So therefore, using a weekly or something like that, it makes more sense. But for me, I am a swing trader, so I stick to the yearly and the quarterly. So like I was saying, these deviation bands tend to be respected as support and resistance very, very well as well, together with the VWAP. So I'll just reiterate this with a few more examples here. Of this darker gray deviation band, as support this entire way here, resistance here, so flip to support there, and this light one is resistance, support there, support across this entire up move here, etc. So you can clearly see that this tends to be dynamic support. What I mean by dynamic support is that it's not one horizontal level, it moves with price. That's what I mean by dynamic support and resistance. It tends to act like that very, very well, especially on higher time frames. So the way you would use this is you want your VWAP, either VWAP or deviation bands, to stack up on top of your other confluences. So let's just turn off VWAP for now and look for some key levels on the 4 hour, on the current market here. Okay, so we'll mark out our key levels. I'll actually go slightly lower on the 2 hour here because this move has been very, very violent and parabolic. So we'll mark out this here, this demand zone. We'll mark out this support here. Let's mark out this resistance and this demand zone here as well. So let's see if VWAP lines up with any of these, either VWAP or the deviation band. So we'll turn VWAP back on again. So you can see this deviation band lines up perfectly with our demand zone. This makes this level very, very valuable. The reason for that is because we're above VWAP, which means we're bullish. Okay, and we'll get into more about trading the deviation bands later on. But as you can see, the deviation band and the demand zone lines up perfectly. That would make this 59k level a super good level. Okay, so just based off using the deviation band, we can see that this is a good level. Okay, and we'll go on go slightly lower, and we'll go on the monthly as well, just to see if any of these line up as well. You can see that this deviation band here lines up perfectly with the top of this demand zone. So we'll mark that as well. And we can see that this deviation band is quite close to this resistance, so we'll just mark that as well. So let's go back to the yearly here. So on their own, these supports and resistances wouldn't really be enough to take your trades. Obviously, you don't want to use them by themselves. You want to add other stuff on top of it. So just by simply looking at VWAP, we have already added more confidence to this level, that level, and that level. Okay. So these would be heavier levels by definition. I'm late. How do you show deviations on the chart? You just go to VWAP here and you turn on the band multipliers. And make sure you're on standard deviation, not percentage. Standard deviation, turn on 1, 2, 3, and style them however you want. Yeah. So, just based on that, we've marked out some pretty significant levels. Okay. So we'll go to ETH here, just to sort of show you this on a different coin. So we'll just start off with a plain chart and mark out the key levels like we did on Bitcoin. We have this support resistance. We have this support resistance. We have this support resistance, and we'll stick to these. Let's actually do this one as well. And this one. So now we have a few levels to use here. Let's turn on VWAP again. Does any of these match up? Yes. This one matches up. This deviation band matches up with this support resistance, which would make this zone here a heavier level than any of the other ones. We'll change this down to the monthly, so you get more local levels and see how this changes. See that based off this, none of these really match up. But we can see that we're on a 2 hour right now. We can see that this deviation band here matches up perfectly with this demand zone. Okay, so this was actually a level we just didn't mark out for whatever reason. But this is the demand zone, clearly matching up with the standard deviation band on the VWAP. So we'll mark out this level as well. That's just how it has its own, a bit cleaner. So yeah, on ETH as well, 2 heavier levels than the other ones we've marked out, just based off VWAP. We also turn on the weekly to maybe sort of look for some more. See here, the weekly, the deviation band also matches up with this, so double confluence. So this would be a very, 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 very good level. This demand zone together with deviation bands on two anchor periods. Okay, so this 3.2 thousand level is great level for ETH. Well, let's just do one more example on Solana, for example, just to sort of nail this in. Remove these for now. So we'll mark out our key levels. We have this clear support resistance. We have that clear support resistance. We have this one. We have this one as well. So turn on VWAP again on the yearly. Let's start there. Does any of these match up? VWAP matches up quite well with this one. I'll mark out that one. And always the strongest band, it's the VWAP itself. The standard deviation bands are strong. The strongest one is always the VWAP itself. So just based on that, we have that level, and we'll move down slightly lower to the monthly, for example. See if any of these match up again. This deviation band here matches up quite nicely with this one. So mark at that. And also this lighter gray one matches up with this one. So again, 3 good levels to use. To a greater extent than, for example, this one, because no real band is around here except this weekly VWAP, which we'll mark here as well. So based on this, we have 4 good levels of Solana. So let's say you want to enter some spot. You could do it there, 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 and there. Because we have VWAP confluence together with support resistance. There you go. So that's sort of the simplest way to use VWAP. Okay. Next, we'll get into something that's I arguably use more. It's going to be the VWAP resets. Okay. So let's go back to Bitcoin here, because it's a very good example of Bitcoin. Did I lose all my levels? It's okay, I have them here. Okay, perfect. Whew. I almost lost my cool there. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So as we talked about, VWAP has an anchor period, which means that at some point, based off your anchor period, it resets. Okay, so for example, here it resets from there to there. Here it resets from there to there. Reset from there to there, etc. So it clearly resets at points, in this case every month, every quarter, every year, etc. Every year in this case it resets. So the way we use these resets is we mark out the VWAP and the deviation band levels right before the reset. Okay? So as an example, we'll mark out, for example, this one. Right before the reset from 2023 to 2024. Right? See here? This deviation band here. So we can mark out that. I'll mark out these in blue so we can clearly identify these. There we go. We'll mark out. So in this case, we're just going to ignore this one for now because price hasn't traveled down. So we'll just ignore that for now. Let's mark out this one. Freeze it up there. Zoom out a bit. Oops. Let's mark out this one. As you can see, it reset from there to there. Reset there. Reset here. Reset up here. As you can see, this reset up here matches up with this one. That's a good confluence. So we'll just do one more year here. We'll do this one. So you can see it right down here. It reset from there to up here. Reset there. We'll do this one. This one is around the same level. And we'll do this one. So now we have some good reset levels. Okay. So let's actually turn off the VWAP for now and see if any of these levels are respected. Okay. Well, let's turn on the here so you can see which one I marked out. I marked out this reset. Okay. So none of these had happened yet. Okay. And what happened when price touched this level? Instant resistance. Oops. Instant resistance. Flip to support. Flip to support again. Support. And we just boom up from there. Okay. So this from 2021 to 2022, this second deviation band reset has been acted as very, very severe support and resistance. Resistance there, support here. Extremely good level. Next, we'll look for some more levels here. We'll turn off the VWAP again and look for some more levels. So we have this one here. So where did we get this one from? We got it from this reset here. You can see. Slightly lower to get it more accurate. There we go. So this happened. So right now, this is all we have. This is all the data we have. So what happened after that? Well, we'll turn off the VWAP to see. Let's mark this out in red to distinguish it, because that's the one we're looking for. Well, support. We'll move over. Resistance here. Flip to support. Okay. Another very good level, just based off the reset. So we'll turn this back to blue and focus on a new level. So look, we'll see. We have this one, this VWAP reset level. We'll focus on that on the red one. Turn off VWAP again. See, well, just to like point out, this we currently, like if we were to use this reset, we're currently here, okay? So none of this has happened yet. So we're here. Okay? And as we can see, well, resistance, support, more resistance, and support. Okay? So let's just do one more level to sort of, again, just make sure you guys understand this. We'll turn on the up again and see which level we'll use. Let's do these two from 2022. There we go. Turn off the up again. We'll see. Did these levels get respected? Yes. Clear resistance. There. Clear resistance here. So this may look like magic because it almost is. These levels are so heavily respected that it's like dumb. Okay? Just based off a VWAP reset from, I don't know when this was. This was 2021. We got it for the exact resistance as well, around 63.5 thousand. Okay, so we'll actually notice that I have these levels marked out on my main Bitcoin chart. So oops, wrong. There we go. I'll turn on all my. That's the wrong one. We'll see here that I have all these marked out. We have this 2023 reset. We have the 2022. Okay, this is something else. 2022 reset, 2021 reset, 2021 reset, 2021 reset. So I have these on my main Bitcoin chart. I use this extremely actively. Okay, let's go back to our perp chart just to sort of show. Let's do one more example of this. Turn this back to blue. As we saw, we had a deviation band reset down here from 2021 to 2022. So you see with this light gray. We'll turn this to red and see if this level at all got respected, around 15.7 thousand. Well, support. And Bitcoin never went below this. Okay. So, insanely good levels. These are like stupidly good levels. Okay. So, we'll move over to ETH, just to sort of show you that this is not just on Bitcoin, it's on actually every coin. Go on Ether. Turn off these. Turn on the VWAP again. We'll mark out our resets. Reset. Let's do these ones as well. This one. We have this one up here. We have this down there. And we have this down here. So I'll make all these blues like we had on Bitcoin, so we can not get confused with which ones we're focusing on. Oops. So in blue, there we go. There we go, and we'll see if these are respected. So this reset happened here. Clear support resistance. Over. We'll zoom in. Clear resistance and support again. especially on the 1 day, I can see perfect daily close below this level, all the way from 2021. Okay, so we'll look at some other ones. We have this one from down here. This will be up there. Support across the board. We'll see if this even got tested as resistance. We'll see 2.4K. Yep, resistance. Perfect resistance. Flip back to support here. And resistance again with this here. You can see if I zoom in here, you can see that this was resistance as well. So I'll just do a few more examples just to sort of put the nail in the coffin here. Turn on this again. We have these resets down here. We'll move over to ETH and see, okay, what happened here? Well, support, resistance, support, clear support again. So again, levels from 2021, 2020 as support in 2023, 2024. Okay, so again, these are extremely good levels to use. I've shown you two example on 2 coins here. I can keep going forever. It's going to repeat this pattern forever. So having the key VWAP presets marked out, especially if they add on top of each other. So if a reset from 2021 adds up with a reset from 2022, that's an extremely good level. Okay, so now you guys, I hope you guys have understood that. I'm just gonna grab my charger because I have 5% on my MacBook. 1 sec. Right. Where are these resets happening? I'm confused. They are happening depending on your anchor period. I'll make these visible so you can clearly see which lines I'm talking about. All these lines here, as you can see, depending on your anchor period, in this case year, for every new year it resets. As you can see, this VWAP went from there to up here, went from here to down there, went from there to up there. So what you want to mark out are the levels right before the new anchor period. So there, etc. Okay. VWAP is nuts. It definitely is. So next thing we want to do is how can you trade with VWAP when the market is either ranging or it's trending. Okay. So it's ranging, aka just consolidating. What you want to do, I'll go on a slightly lower anchor period here, because Bitcoin rarely ranges for an entire year. In a range essentially looks like this. Simplified. Okay, so just up and down, up and down, up and down, which means that the mean, aka the VWAP, so the VWAP will also stay around the middle. So the VWAP, well, let's act like the VWAP is red here again. So what you want to do when you're in a range, you want to buy and sell the deviation bands and take profit on VWAP. Okay. The reason for this is in a range we tend to mean revert. So if we go far above, we tend to mean revert back to the middle. If we're going far below, we tend to mean revert back to the middle. And the middle is again VWAP because we're in consolidation. Okay. So let's say our deviation bands are down here, deviation band, etc. You want to buy, or if the deviation bands are up here, you want to buy the deviation bands and short the deviation bands back down to VWAP and take profit there. So we'll show some examples of this. So here we're in a pretty clear range here. Let's mark this out in red here so I can identify this on a lower time frame. Here we go. Here, pretty clear range here on Bitcoin. Like I said, buy and sell the deviation bands, take profit in VWAP. So going into the third deviation band here, you would short here, take profit in VWAP. We're going back down to the deviation band again. Here, take profit into VWAP. As you see here, VWAP stays quite flat. which means we're in a range. Okay. Look for another range here on Bitcoin. We'll see if we can find any. So here, this wouldn't be a range. This wouldn't be a range. None of these would be ranges. We'll see if we can find any. Let's see here. You could argue that this is range. It's not a great one because we're below VWAP across the board. Let's go on ETH. Actually, we'll do this one because this is another range. You'd short the deviation band here. So you'd short the third deviation bands, which is the lightest color. Short, TP into VWAP. Long the deviation band, TP into VWAP. See here, nothing else happened. Show the setting. So it's just the 1, 2, 3 standard. So my VWAP settings are the standard settings. They're the standard ones. Okay. So no need to worry about the settings. They're the standard settings. Only thing I have different is just how the bands look. I have them on different shades of gray. 50 Shades of Grey. If you've seen that show, it's awful. All right. So that's for a ranging market. You buy and short from the deviation bands, and you TP into the VWAP. In a trending market, aka when we're above or below VWAP consistently, you don't want to buy and short the deviation bands and TP into VWAP. You want to buy or short the VWAP and TP into deviation bands. So it's opposite, right? Because in a ranging market, so in a trending market, you're going up and up and up and up. But, and you're above VWAP, right? So the VWAP would look something like this. Let's mark this in red. This would be your VWAP. So you'd buy, when you're above VWAP, you'd buy the VWAP and TP into the deviation bands, let's say up there. Buy the VWAP again, TP into deviation band. Same thing if you're below VWAP. So you're in a downtrend. Say VWAP is looking like that. You'd short from VWAP into deviation bands, TP there. Short from VWAP and TP into the deviation bands again, etc. So look for a clear example of this on Bitcoin again. Actually, were we on Bitcoin earlier, or am I tripping? We might have been on ETH actually. Let's go back to ETH then. Let's see which ETH were we on. Okay, I lost it. Nice. Let's go back to just Bitcoin. But this is for when you have the charge for the past, not for the future. That's not true. I'll show you this. Let's just choose this one and just reset everything. So, like I was saying, look for trending when Bitcoin is trending. Okay, so here we're staying consistently above VWAP, which means we are trending. You'd buy the lowest band. Here, sell into the deviation band there. Buy the lowest band again, sell into deviation band. Look for a downtrend. Let's move over to 2021, 2022. So around here. Short from VWAP. TP into deviation band here. So for another time, we'll touch VWAP. So I actually didn't touch VWAP any other times in this downtrend. So for another uptrend here. Long from VWAP. TP into deviation band. In this case, you would have gotten fucked here if you were long. But the thing is, here, VWAP was starting to flatten out, right? So the range isn't as clear. We're almost like 90 degrees, like 180 degrees here. So you see. So in this case, you wouldn't be in a trend per se. You would be in a range. So look for another example of this. Here, for example, downtrend. You would short from VWAP, TP into deviation band, short from VWAP, TP into deviation band, etc. I will just do one more example here. Okay, we haven't even touched VWAP any of these times. So you get the point, right? You would flip your strategy for the ranging market for whenever you're in a trending, and where you flip whichever you buy or sell and TP from. So If you're ranging, you want to buy and sell from the deviation bands TP into VWAP. When you're in a trending market, you want to buy and sell off VWAP and sell into deviation bands. Okay, that's a very, very simple rule to follow if you want to trend a ranging or trending market with VWAP. All right. Any questions? I've been rambling about VWAP for 45 minutes now, so any questions would be appreciated. Are these accurate when scalping 1 hour or less? Yes, but you want to make sure that your anchor period is in ample as well. So let's take the 1 hour here. The yearly or quarterly would be slightly too high, so we can change this to, for example, the monthly or even the weekly. Here we go. So this would be sort of good here. Here you're in an uptrend. Buy VWAP, sell into deviation band, buy VWAP, sell into deviation band. Here you're ranging. Here you're ranging. So you buy the deviation band, sell into VWAP, buy deviation band, sell into VWAP. Strategy I just pointed out, working out perfectly. Okay. Can you show a live example of VWAP now? Yeah, sure. I'll go to this chart here. So our my nose is I'm a bit sick, so my nose is a bit fucked up. Let's change this to monthly here. So here, let's actually go on slightly higher time frame here. There you go. So here on Bitcoin, on the quarterly and on 4 hour, you can see that this outmost deviation band together with the 2021 VWAP preset is matching up very well. So this 64.6 level, which will be quite difficult to break through. Okay, so live example of VWAP would be potentially doing some scalps up here. But just to sort of remind you, I am mega bullish on Bitcoin, so at some point it will break through here, but it will definitely struggle. So doing some shorts off this VWAP here, I'll just make this super clear by turning on the lines. Here, you see, with the 2021 VWAP preset. So I'll turn on the yearly here. You'll see that this matches up off here. As you can see, off this one. So this would be a difficult zone for BTC to move through. All right, out of place, but look at Planet. Sure. So for the ones that doesn't know, I've been shilling Planet for like 4 months, especially in Unity. Oh, what the fuck happened here? Wait a second. We'll see here. All right, what happened here? Anyways, we're still up. Good buy opportunity, you can say. What happened here? Who sold? Did Messi sell? Who sold this? Anyway, is it fundamental? Yes. Okay. When scalping class. I don't know when. Probably sometime when I do the next live session, or whenever I do a live session, I might do a scalping class. Probably. Out of curiosity, just on VWAP, would you short scalp APT? I'll take a look. Turn off these. So something that's important to know with VWAP as well, which I forgot to cover, is whenever you have a huge fundamental change, let's say there's, for example, on ID, let's just take that ID as an example. Okay. So using here, VWAP obviously like skyrocketed here. So in this case, instead of using the anchor, yearly VWAP, because this incurred a huge fundamental change. ID is a different coin here than it was here. completely different. And therefore, using the previous levels might not be the wisest. So in cases like these, where you see a huge fundamental shift, for example, in APT or in Arkham, you would want to use something called an anchor point VWAP. Okay, let's go back to ID just to show you how you do this. Off here, remove the VWAP, and you would anchored VWAP. So it's let's find it. VWAP anchored. I like to use this one. Click VWAP anchor with standard deviation. So in this case, you'd essentially mark out where the fundamental thing has changed. So you'd do this top here, for example. And based on this, you would get more accurate levels. Because instead of doing, for example, every year or every month or every quarter, this takes from wherever you point it out. Okay, so this would give you better levels. And as you can see, nice resistance, nice support. So in cases like these, or in cases like APT as well, APT, I would personally, in this case the change isn't that much, but I would possibly move the anchored view up to this top over here. What platform is this? This is TradingView, my guy. You could most likely use this view up instead of just using the standard one. Can this be done in TradingView? This is TradingView, my guy. Do you see? It says right there in the logo, TradingView. so yeah. But like I was saying, with when you have huge fundamental changes, like you have in ID, like you had in other coins, stuff like that, you want to use an anchor period, click anchored view up rather than using the standard view up. Is my recommendation. Make sense? Perfect. So in APT, yes, you could scalp, but I would recommend using this one instead rather than just using the VWAP by itself. I hope that answered your question at least. All right, any other questions?
This is the first time, Alex, you've asked any questions and no one has any.
It means I've done a good job explaining, I hope.
You've done a fab job. Oh, okay, there's someone's typing.
How will you take swing trades with this? So it comes down to what I was talking about earlier, with mainly for me using the resets. So on Bitcoin, for example, using, for example, this 2021 reset to do a swing short, or using this 2021 reset down here as a swing long, or this 2022 VWAP reset for another swing long. So that's how you would use the resets for the swings, and for VWAP by itself, you'd essentially just use the. Let's just hide all these again so I can. Let's remove these now, so I can show you a clean chart. There we go. So in this case, you'd want to use the VWAP by itself. So we'll turn off this band because it's disgusting. There we go. So as an example, on the 4 hour, we can clearly identify. Let's actually go to the 2 hour here. We can clearly identify a demand zone here, together with this VWAP. So placing a long here, if we get a pullback to the 59K level, would be a good idea. The anchor VWAP would be basically used after a coin that pumped. Yes. And also, if a coin is in price discovery, let's say, for example, DYM. This is a coin that I've been trying to trade a bit. In this case, instead of using the VWAP, you'd use this one. Okay. Because currently we're in price discovery. So you'd, for example, select the high. See, it has been treated as support literally perfectly. Support, 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 and support. And this is VWAP, resistance, resistance, and we're waiting for it to touch again. So just to go back to Bitcoin to talk about what we're talking about. You possibly do a long from there. In addition, another thing to use VWAP for is for stop loss and take profits. So my main way of marking out my final take profit is just marking out the final deviation band. Okay, so VWAP here. Obviously, in times like these where Bitcoin has surged massively, I could go lower, for example, the monthly. And when this doesn't net me a good result, because this doesn't really net me a good result, this is only 67k, I'd go back to the yearly, and I'd do, instead of 1, 2, 3, I'd do 4, 5, 6. Shows you more deviation bands. So, final TP maybe up here, something like that. And the same concept for stop losses. So 1, 2, 3 again. Go on the quarter left, there's a monthly actually. And possibly doing the stop loss right below this standard deviation band down here. Something like that. On Binance. Sorry, on Bitcoin. Normally it's 1 to 3, yes. Normally it's 1 to 3, and those are the best levels. Using the 10th deviation band isn't really helpful. So stay as low as you can. But yeah, using the 4, 5, 6 sometimes is fine. Mainly for take profits. Alright. Well, I hope I've explained this in a good way to hopefully give you guys another tool in your tool belt. Where can I rewatch this? I believe there's a link to the Google Drive pinned in the premium chat, where you can watch it after it's been uploaded. Okay. So yeah, thanks. This stream is crazy, so good. Thanks, man. Well, thanks for everyone who came through. I hope it's been at help. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later on. I'll see you in the chats. I'll see you in the server.
Thank you so much, Alex. Once again. Yeah. Also, for everyone who wants, Tip Roland is doing a live coin charting session right after this. So whenever, if you guys want to stay back and you all have coins, you can tell Tip to take it up.
Right, man. Yeah, good luck, Tip, with that, and I'll see you guys later. See ya.
You too. Bye.